Hi, my name's Matt Locke, and this is the Everyday Athlete Podcast, the podcast for the everyday athletes around the world who refuse to be average and who want to create a legacy of health, fitness, and achievement in every aspect of their life. I'm glad you're here, and once again, it's time to forge your future. Jenn Ryan, welcome to the Everyday Athletes Podcast. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, not at all. It's a pleasure. And you're dialing in from sunny San Diego in Southern California, am I right?
Yep. Good old San Diego.
And how's it looking where you are right now?
It's beautiful. It's been really, really nice. Every once in a while, it'll be a little gloomy, but that doesn't last very long. The clouds just kind of fly on by, and then we have our beautiful sunny San Diego weather. So
yeah, it's June, isn't it? You get the gloom June, June
yeah.
gloom.
They usually call it May gray and June gloom, but this year, I swear, May has been pretty darn not gray. So I'm actually really impressed. So I'm hoping June gloom doesn't come either for the first time since I've lived here. I would be really excited about that.
Fingers crossed for that.
Yeah.
And hey, we don't want a little bit of sunshine in amongst this whole pandemic that's taken the world by storm. So yeah, happy to have a bit of sunlight shining down.
Yeah.
And your skin tone gives you away. You spend some
Oh
time
man, yeah. Well, I've been since the gyms haven't been open. I've just been working out in my courtyard, my yard. I've got this nice big area, so I'm outside more than I have been in the past how many years, even with games training. We're still in the gym a lot, so I'm like, wow, I'm already more tan than I've been even leading into the games, just because I'm not inside the gym twice a day. I'm outside, which is awesome.
Yeah, sure. Your vitamin D levels will be through the roof, which is good.
Yeah.
Very good. So Jenn, just for those who are not familiar with you, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself to our audience, and then we're going to dive in and talk about the road to the games as an everyday athlete. But who is Jenn Ryan? How do you describe yourself?
Oh man. When people ask me who I am and what I do, I generally lead with I'm an ER nurse. I've been an ER nurse for 11 years. I am originally from Iowa, which is in the Midwest. For people who aren't super familiar with the states, that's the Midwest. Good old Iowa. I've lived for 14 and a half years on the East Coast in South Carolina. And then I picked all my stuff up, put what I could in my Jetta, and drove across the country to San Diego 7.5 years ago. And that's where I've been. I have been completely in love with CrossFit since I started in 2009. And it's kind of been a game changer for me. I'll tell you, I think it made me grow up, and it made me, kept me out of trouble. And it's really kind of shaped who I am, along with being a nurse. And I'm also a nutrition coach. So that's, kind of how I identify myself as an ER nurse, a nutrition coach, and a CrossFit athlete. Yeah. So that's kind of who I am.
Yeah, that certainly keeps you busy, I'm guessing. Certainly keeps you busy.
Yeah.
And
yes.
I guess as an ER nurse, I guess things have been a bit crazy with COVID-19.
Well, I'm also very lucky, and well, not lucky, but I haven't worked in the ER. I haven't worked in shifts in a while. Being a nutrition coach keeps me on my toes. I find more and more that people need me just as much as they needed me in the hospital. And so I've been very blessed to set myself up in a way that I can help people however I want to. And that to me is so freeing. So, I love being in front of people. I love being at the bedside. But I haven't been there for a little while. I've been working with people on lifestyle, on nutrition, and just kind of really enjoying that side of things. But getting to keep in touch with all of my coworkers, just kind of hearing everything they're going through right now, it's a lot.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Listening to what you've just said, about the path that you've taken. I'm not surprised, therefore, that we have crossed paths, because a lot of what you're saying resonates deeply with me, and certainly would with the whole team at the Bay Games, no question about it, and lots of the listeners. So that's just fantastic. Now, I guess, how did our paths cross? And I guess I reached out. There's this random guy reaching out from the Bay Games in Australia, because I saw a post. I read one of your posts on the 2nd of May, and I don't have a great memory. I just refreshed my stalking on you this morning before we chatted. But 2nd of May, and I have to say, it was a post which I'll let you explain, but there was just something about it really captivated me and kept me reading all the way to the end. And it was really quite beautiful, very humble. It made me want to reach out and sort of make contact with it. It was very humble. There was an underlying confidence to it, and an overarching, there's something bigger going on, and it's not all about me, but I did want to have a mini celebration about this achievement because of what I know what it's taken to get there. But maybe, if you don't mind, and I've got it, I can read it, I've got it on my screen, but maybe it's nicer to get your version of that post. The background behind it.
Oh, well, thank you very much. That post was, well, the cool thing was when I posted it, so many people reached out or reposted and said just some amazing things that, it just made me feel like, wow, like what I'm doing is really beyond just being an athlete, which is what I would want, for people to see. But basically what happened was, we found out all the videos for the online qualifier for the Masters were done. They had assessed them, and then they set the rankings, and then literally like 2 hours later, I think, they were like, oh, and you guys are done for the year. There'll be nothing else done, no prizes given out, see you next year. And so I think many people were left just kind of like, okay, what the heck? We didn't receive anything like an email or notification, but I think CrossFit is very much like that. And I've been doing CrossFit since 2009. I have met Dave and worked alongside him, gotten to personally like talk with him numerous times, and I don't take any of it personally. Like, honestly, I didn't take the fact that we didn't hear anything else about the cancellation personally. So I guess I was okay handling that. The cool thing was that I've not ever actually really finished first, I think, in anything sort of on my own. Maybe a small local comp or something, back in the day. Once or twice, but not very often. And, even in high school, when I wanted to play sports, I just wanted to be on the varsity team, and getting to start was even just, that was my goal for the season, was to get to start, And so when I finished first, it was just like, okay, wow, do I celebrate this? Am I supposed to celebrate it? This is super cool. Like, this feels really great. I've worked my butt off for this. And then I thought, I don't know if I should post that, what will people think? And so there was this excitement, and that I wanted to shout to the world that, like, you can do this, and anybody can. And so that was a big part of me wanting to post that, that I wanted to take the time to celebrate something really cool that I felt I have been working for, I guess, since I was a teenager, and I'm 40 now. So that was really cool, and I overcame a lot of things, as everybody did. But, the fact that I didn't finish first in any of the workouts, but my lowest placement was a 12th, and no one else in that top 10 can say that, and I finished ahead of people. Some women in that top 10 had 2 first places, and I still finished ahead of them. And to me, there's just something freaking cool about that, to say, like, hey, you don't have to be the best at something. You don't have to be because I used to get so upset when I wouldn't win a workout, and I would think I'm never going to be where I want to be if I can't win everything. And that showed me that like everything I've worked for, which is building on my weaknesses and just maintaining my strengths, you can still finish where you need to be. You know, like you don't have to be number one at every single thing. And that just, to me, was probably more important than even finishing first. It was just that I finally realized that if I just do what I'm capable of, I'm going to be where I need to be, you know? And I've never, in so many years leading up to this year, I didn't see that. And it led to like a lot of like disappointment, frustration, you know? So anyhow, that was like the really cool part for me, that I felt like I really wanted to share. And then the disappointment of course, not getting to go on. But I have a really great mentor and coach in CJ Martin. And, you know, when Dave announced on Instagram weeks before that they were going to try to get the games to happen in Aromas, I think a lot of the masters and teens were like, yes, that means us too. In my head, I was like, no, it doesn't. But I remained optimistic. And CJ reached out to me that night and sent me a text and just said, hey, I want you to know that no matter what, I'm really proud of the way you handled this season, the way you approached it. I had an emergency appendectomy 2.5 weeks before the Open this past year. I traveled to Brazil the week before the Masters qualifier and got jet lag and really sick the 3 days before the qualifiers.
Perfect. Perfectly.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But you know, he just said, he's like, I'm just really proud of the way you handled the year. And no matter what, you know, whether it happens to be an online games or if nothing comes of it, like you're my champ, like you're number one to me. And, you know, I'm just really proud of you. And that was really cool to me. And I said to him, you know, CJ, I'm okay with it. Like, I'm actually okay with not having anything else happen from here on out for our season. And that wouldn't have been the case a few years ago, but I now identify as something more than just a CrossFit athlete. And honestly, I put more value in what I can do for people as a coach than anything else. And I was just like, this has just been a really eye-opening year for me. And I'm okay with it. And It was cool. I think that he reached out and said that, because then leading into the announcement from CrossFit, I didn't feel blindsided. I didn't feel upset. I already moved on kind of. And I already knew I had more value to give to people than just going and competing, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if the epiphany that you had around the realization of not having to win everything to actually win, as it happens, and perhaps, yeah, maybe that the realization of being the well-rounded athlete actually is what's required. I wonder if that epiphany would have been quite so striking or strong had it not been this odd year where the games isn't happening for the majority of people and so on, and maybe there wouldn't have been so much self-reflection around it. Yeah, I wonder. But I mean, it's certainly to your credit, and it sounds very much like to the benefit of those that you work with and coach and mentor as well. So no, absolutely fantastic. And so just to be clear, it was the CrossFit Open, the online qualifier that we were talking about, and you came first in your age group?
Yeah, first in the 40 to 44-year-old division in the qualifier. Yeah.
Sure. And certainly the stalking I did earlier would suggest as well, you were actually also second overall in the US. Is that right?
Well, I don't know. I didn't look at that. I'm not sure.
And third overall worldwide for women 40 to 44. If that's what the CrossFit Games leaderboard says, then it must be true. But yeah, second overall in the US and third overall worldwide. So there you go. You're welcome.
I'll take it. Cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I was like, oh, that's great. Cool.
So you gave the hint that it made you grow, CrossFit made you grow up which gave the hint that maybe there was some more wild years under the belt at that point. And we don't need to dive into it, but I'm interested what the catalyst was, that what sparked that interest to try CrossFit and then to fall in love with it and to sort of make a lifestyle around it, or to use it to create a lifestyle maybe. I'm really interested to know how that looked.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, I tried CrossFit the same year, 2009. That summer, I had actually just graduated from nursing school. So I was convinced by a couple of my friends to start CrossFit as well, just to give it a try. This is when I lived in South Carolina. And and they had been asking me for a while, and I thought, no, I won't like that. And I had just been doing my regular like spin classes, step class, all the fun stuff, maybe a little dilly-dallying in some like weightlifting here and there. So I tried it and I loved it. It was a super hot and humid day in June in South Carolina. And of course, the gym doesn't have air conditioning. It's an open gym, right? Like most CrossFit gyms, just a couple of big fans. And I mean, you're just drenched in sweat. You can't breathe. And I loved it. So, so I kept going back. Interestingly enough, there was about a 2-month span where I stopped going in my first year. And I'm so glad. I keep thinking back to like, where would I be right now had I not gone back? I don't even want to know where I would be right now, to be honest. But yeah, so I loved it. And I think it's because I've always been a competitor at heart. I've loved sports. I played, I was an athlete growing up. I started playing soccer really young. And then in high school, I would literally just play a sport every season just so I didn't have to get a job after school. I'd be like, Mom, I can't. I got to go to practice. She's like, you don't even like swimming. Who cares, right? So I just did all these different things. And that's the cool part is I think CrossFit kind of kept me entertained almost, if you will. There were so many different aspects to it. And it was like in high school where I could play all of these different sports. And maybe I wasn't the best at any single thing, but I had some strengths and they showed up in some of the workouts that got programmed. And then of course, I had some things that challenged me and frustrated me and made me keep going on the other one. So, then I did a couple of CrossFit competitions. I did the Open in 2011 when it started and competed on a regionals team. And that was it. I loved being out on that competition floor. It gave me a new reason just to identify as something, like some kind of path in life. And I think it was the path I was looking for so long, and I just didn't have something. Like I needed a reason for something. And before that, I feel like in my 20s, my reason was always to like look good and like make people like me or be able to just, I don't know. I don't even know. Right. So, there was a new meaning to why I was working out, a new meaning to why I was being healthy, why I was looking to eat the way I did. Yeah, it was kind of cool. And then as a nurse, working, people were really interested in it. They were like, wow, Jenn, you're looking strong. Or, there was just more to it. And I loved that. So yeah, identifying as an athlete and having a meaning behind why I was going to work out and a reason to like get better was just very addicting to me.
Sure.
So
yeah, absolutely.
And I think a lot of people do these sports, whether it's like a Spartan race or anything to feel that,
Yeah, absolutely right. The and you mentioned, I guess that's where the drive came from, and what does that actually look like in real terms? Because as you say, you're a nurse, you have your own business, Lifeline Performance, you're coaching, so you're working full time, right? I mean, you don't get paid to do CrossFit.
No, no, I don't. I'm not one of those.
People do.
No, I'm not one of those. When I moved out here, so I was a full-time nurse before moving out to San Diego. When I moved out here, December of 2012, I I coached CrossFit Pacific Beach, did like 24 classes a week. And then I also would work a shift or two on the weekends at the hospital. And then I transitioned more to a year later, year and a half later, I think it was, I went to full-time at the hospital. And cut back on my coaching classes. And basically I shifted. So I literally shifted everything around my training. So I would work my 3 shifts. So I was able to schedule myself every Sunday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I would do an 11 a.m. to an 11:30 p.m. shift. So Sundays and Thursdays, of course, were my rest days. Wednesday, I would get up at 6:30 in the morning, go to the gym and get my training in. I'd come home at about 10 o'clock, jump in the shower really fast. My food was all packed. I literally prepped my food. I would eat I had the same set meals for literally probably 2 years. I knew exactly what I was doing because I knew my schedule and it was so tight and regimented. So then I would go to work on Wednesday and then of course I work again Thursday. And so that's what I did. And it was a lot. It was a lot of commitment. Right. And then even on Saturday nights when I would go out, go meet friends, things like that. If I wasn't coming home till like 9:30 and I didn't have what I needed for my planned meals for Sunday, you better believe my butt wasn't going into work without a plan. Right. Because I needed to train again Monday and I needed to feel good. So I stopped at the store, got what I needed, and made sure I could have what I needed for that Sunday. I think, I don't know if it's like that for everyone, but for me, that's what it's like. It was 100% commitment. Like that's what I needed to do. And then I moved forward to, I began nutrition coaching. So I have my own business. So I started to shift again to coaching more nutrition clients, and then cut back to part-time as a nurse. But then I would do every Sunday and Thursday, kind of shifted more to a day shift schedule. And then even at that, it was still very, very regimented. Thursdays, I would get off work at 7:30 or 8 o'clock, come home, take my dogs out, and I'd go to a pool at a 24-hour fitness and I'd swim for 30, 35 minutes. Because if you're going to go to the CrossFit Games on Team Invictus, you better be able to swim. So, again, like there is no, maybe I'm in, maybe I'm not in. I'm 100% in, right? And so, again, I don't know if that's what everyone has to do, but I know for me to get to where I am, that's what I had to do. And that's what it looked like for me.
But you don't sound like you feel like you sacrificed anything in doing so, on the contrary.
I don't feel like I did. It's the path. I've learned so much. I've grown as a person. I honestly, I need, like, structure for me is so important. It's been very freeing, right? Like mentally, and to have that goal. I don't feel like I've sacrificed a lot of things. Some people might think so. In my 20s, well, let's be honest, from the age of like 19 to like 30, believe me, if people think I'm missing out on partying, I bartended for like 10 years. I didn't miss out on anything. I will be fine for the rest of my life if I don't, I won't worry about missing a party. So no, I don't feel like from that age on, I don't feel like I miss things. Right. And I know a lot of people, they feel like maybe that happened, but I lived it up in my 20s.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
My body is very happy. Of course, I still put a lot of stress on it with CrossFit, but it is what it is.
Performing and sounding amazing, so hey, it's worth it.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. So
I guess when people, if anyone was to consider any sort of sacrifice on your behalf, let's say that you have sacrificed, I guess that would be lacking an understanding of the awesomeness that it's brought to your life and the amazing experiences and how it fulfills you. And also, I guess it depends on, everyone's got their own barometer, and societal norms come to play, don't they? Well, and it's just kind of, everyone's got their own barometer. And we were talking before we sort of went on air, let's say, And he said, you wished everyone on the planet could have that one time to experience hitting the main arena with the big lights and the spectators and the crowd and everything that goes around it, whether it's the games or an event like that, and just to get that experience, even just once. And I think then the naysayers, if there are any, would perhaps have a better appreciation then for, it's not about sacrifice. On the contrary, you've enriched your life by doing what you've been doing and continue to do. And kudos to you, I have to say, because I mean, yes, 40 is the new 30. Yeah, that's what we're going to go with.
That's what they keep telling me. No, I mean, I feel great. I didn't even know when I turned 40 on New Year's Eve this past year, and I was kind of like, I don't even know what to think. Like, everyone I train with is literally, there might be one person over the age of 30 that I train with. So I don't even know. I'm not even sure. I'm around really young people all the time. So I just kind of go with it. I don't know.
Absolutely.
I guess.
I'm a handful of years away from 50. And honestly, I love, particularly with running or swimming, that some of the guys and girls I train with, most of them lift heavier weights than I do. But when we go for a run or a swim, I school them every time.
Yeah.
I've refused to use age as any sort of excuse. Absolutely
No.
not.
Oh, well, even if I try to, they don't let me. Believe me, I try. They don't let me. So then my ego jumps in. I'm like, all right, I'm going to show you. I'll show you guys.
The ego has to come out to play from time to time.
Yeah.
Very good. Jen, I'm conscious of time. And we probably need to wrap it up. I know we're going to talk again. I can't wait to talk to you about the whole subject of nutrition. But for today, if anyone wants to reach out and connect with you on social media or with your business, Lifeline Performance, how would they do that?
Yeah, I am on Instagram, Jenn _ Ryan. Please reach out. I check my messages. If I don't see it right away, I'll keep coming back to it. You can see I'm on Facebook, Jenn Ryan, and then lifelineperformance.com is my website. You can always get in touch with me there too, but completely fine. Reach out via Instagram is really easy for most people these days, and I can always talk with you more.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Thank you very much for that. We're going to put all of those links will be in the show notes so people can get to them. And with that said, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your journey so far, and look forward to seeing the 2021 season, what that looks like for you. But in the meantime, stay safe and well, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Well, there you have it. Thanks very much for listening. And if you've enjoyed this, please go ahead, hit the subscribe button down below and the little bell icon so you get notified every time we upload a new episode. And if you think that one of your training buddies would also enjoy this, go ahead and share it with them right now. With that said, thank you once again. And as always, be brave, have fun, and lead by example.